Today we are going to discuss about single sideband technique. In our part 1 and 2 classes we discussed about double sideband full carrier technique or our basic amplitude modulation technique. And in our part 3 class we discussed about double sideband suppressed carrier technique. The basic version of amplitude modulation is modified by suppressing the carrier component to yield the double sideband suppressed carrier technique. But the bandwidth requirement of double sideband suppressed carrier is still the same as that of amplitude modulation. When we consider the basic amplitude modulation technique and this double sideband suppressed carrier technique, the bandwidth requirement is 2 FM. Okay, so the bandwidth requirement is same in both the cases. Then when we consider the sidebands, when we consider the lower sideband and the upper sideband, that sidebands carry the same information, because when we consider the lower sideband, its equation is mvc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t, and when we consider the upper sideband, its equation is minus mvc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. So the frequency components and the amplitude part are same in lower sideband and upper sideband, but only the sign difference is there. So both the sidebands carry the same information. Hence saving in bandwidth can be achieved by suppressing one of the sidebands. In double sideband suppressed carrier technique, we have already suppressed the carrier component, and since the sidebands carry the same information, we can suppress one of the sidebands also. Okay, and this thought process led to the development of another variant of amplitude modulation on top of this double sideband suppressed carrier, termed as single sideband suppressed carrier technique or SSB-SC technique. And this SSB-SC is more commonly termed as single sideband technique or SSB technique. Okay, so in this SSB technique we are transmitting only one of the sideband to the receiver side. Okay, we are suppressing the carrier component and also one of the sideband component, and we will transmit either lower sideband to the receiver side or we will transmit only the upper sideband to the receiver side. Then since only one of the sidebands is selected for transmission, single sideband needs a bandwidth equal to that of a message, because we are transmitting only one sideband. So the bandwidth required for this single sideband is equal to FM, where FM is the maximum frequency component in the message. So by using this single sideband technique, we can reduce the bandwidth requirement. In the case of basic amplitude modulation and in the case of double sideband suppressed carrier technique, the bandwidth requirement was 2 FM, but here in the case of this single sideband technique, the bandwidth requirement is FM only. Let's now consider the equation for this SSB wave. We know the equation for the double sideband suppressed carrier signal is given by VDS-BSC is equal to mvc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t minus mvc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. Then in the case of single sideband technique, we will suppress one of the sidebands and we will transmit only one of the sideband to the receiver side. Hence, if LSB is chosen for the transmission in the case of single sideband, then the equation for this single sideband wave is VSSB is equal to mvc by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t. So here we are transmitting the lower sideband to the receiver side and the upper sideband component is suppressed here. So this portion is suppressed here and we are transmitting only this lower sideband component. Okay, and alternatively, if upper sideband is chosen for transmission, then the equation for the single sideband wave is VSSB is equal to minus mvc by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. So here we are transmitting the upper sideband component to the receiver side and the lower sideband component is suppressed. So in this manner, the transmitted signal and the equation for the transmitted signal in the case of this single sideband transmission will vary depending upon which sideband is chosen for the transmission. If we are choosing the lower sideband for the transmission, then we are transmitting this signal, and if we are choosing the upper sideband for the transmission, then we are transmitting this signal. Okay. And when we consider these single sideband signals, we can see that the carrier component and one of the sidebands is suppressed here. Now let's consider the block diagram representation of single sideband generation by band pass filtering. This is the block diagram representation of single sideband generation by using band pass filtering. Here the first block is double sideband suppressed carrier modulation block, and the second block is band pass filter block. And here we can see the input to this DSB-SC block is this VM and VC. This is our modulating signal and this is our carrier signal. So at the output of this DSB-SC block, here we will get that DSB-SC signal, or our double sideband suppressed carrier signal is available here, or this signal is available at the output of this first block. Then by using this band pass filter, we can select either the lower sideband component or the upper sideband component from this DSB-SC wave. Depending upon the cutoff frequencies of this band pass filter, it will pass either the lower sideband component to the output or the upper sideband component to the output. So if the cutoff frequencies of band pass filter are FC minus FM and FC, then lower sideband is chosen for the transmission. Okay, that means if the cutoff frequencies of this band pass filter are FC minus FM and FC, then this band pass filter will pass only the frequencies that comes between FC minus FM frequency and FC frequency, and that frequency range corresponds to our lower sideband component. Our lower sideband component is from that FC minus FM to FC. So if the cutoff frequencies of this band pass filter are FC minus FM and FC, this lower sideband is chosen for the transmission. And if the cutoff frequencies are FC and FC plus FM, then the instantaneous voltage of the upper sideband is chosen for the transmission. Because when the cutoff frequencies of this band pass filter are FC and FC plus FM, then this band pass filter will pass only the frequencies that comes between this FC and FC plus FM, and that frequency range corresponds to our upper sideband. So if the cutoff frequencies of the band pass filter are FC and FM, that lower sideband portion is removed and only the upper sideband portion is chosen for the transmission. Let's now consider the frequency spectrum of the single sideband wave. These two figures represents the frequency spectrum of single sideband wave. If we are choosing the upper sideband component for the transmission, then the frequency spectrum of the SSB wave will be like this. Okay, so here the carrier component and the lower sideband component are suppressed, and we are transmitting only the upper sideband component. So we have only this upper sideband component in this frequency spectrum. And if we are choosing the lower sideband component for the transmission, then we will suppress the carrier component and the upper sideband component, and we will transmit only the lower sideband component, and hence the frequency spectrum in this case will be like this. Here we have only this lower sideband component and the carrier component, and the upper sideband components are suppressed. So in these cases we can see we are transmitting only one of the sideband component, and hence the bandwidth required is very much less in this case. Then the bandwidth required for the single sideband is the frequency of the modulating wave, or from this frequency spectrum we can calculate the bandwidth as the bandwidth of single sideband is equal to FC plus FM minus FC from this one, and FC minus FM from this one, and both are same and is equal to FM. So here in this single sideband technique, the bandwidth required is only FM, which is half of the bandwidth required in the case of basic amplitude modulation and double sideband suppressed carrier technique. So when we consider this single sideband technique, it significantly saves power compared to AM and double sideband suppressed carrier techniques, since carrier and one sideband are suppressed here, and also this technique saves the bandwidth since only one sideband is chosen for the transmission. Then the question that arises here is, why not use only this single sideband technique? Because when we consider our basic amplitude modulation and DSB-SC technique, the bandwidth requirement and the power requirement are more in that cases. So why not use only this single sideband technique which has fewer power requirement and bandwidth? And the answer is same as in the case of existence of AM even after the development of double sideband suppressed carrier technique. This single sideband technique further complicates the receiver structure to recover message. And also another important limitation of the single sideband is the practical difficulty in suppressing the unwanted sideband since it lies closer to the wanted sideband. We will see that later. So still all the three versions of amplitude modulation, namely the basic amplitude modulation, double sideband suppressed carrier and the single sideband coexist in the analog communication field. Let's now consider the time domain representation of single sideband wave. So first consider our VM and VC waves. This is our information signal and this is our carrier signal. Okay, our information signal is a low frequency signal and our carrier signal is a high frequency signal. Then we know in the case of single sideband technique, we are transmitting either the upper sideband component only or we will transmit the lower sideband component only. So consider the case we are transmitting the upper sideband component. Then we know if the upper sideband is chosen for the transmission, the equation for our single sideband wave is minus MVC by 2 cos omega c plus omega m into t. So it is a cosine wave whose peak amplitude is m Vc by 2 and its frequency is omega c plus omega m or Fc plus Fm. Okay. So when we consider this single sideband wave, it will be a cosine wave with peak amplitude MVC by 2 and frequency Fc plus Fm. So let's consider that waveform. So if we are transmitting that upper sideband component, then our single sideband waveform will be like this. The amplitude will be MVC by 2 and its frequency will be omega c plus omega m or Fc plus Fm, where Fc is the frequency of this carrier component and Fm is the frequency of this modulating signal. So here we can see the frequency of this wave is greater than this one and this one because its frequency is Fc plus Fm. Then if we are transmitting the lower sideband component, we know the equation for that single sideband wave is MVC by 2 cos omega c minus omega m into t. So it is a cosine wave again whose peak amplitude is MVC by 2 and its frequency is omega c minus omega m or Fc minus Fm. So when we consider that wave, it will be like this. Okay, so its peak amplitude is MVC by 2 and its frequency is Fc minus Fm. That means the frequency of the carrier wave minus the frequency of the modulating signal. So the frequency of this wave will be less than the frequency of the carrier signal and also it will be less than the frequency of this single sideband wave. Okay, so if we are transmitting the upper sideband component only, the frequency will be Fc plus Fm, and if we are transmitting the lower sideband component only, the frequency will be Fc minus Fm, and the amplitude is same in both the cases and the amplitude is equal to MVC by 2. So here we can see in this single sideband technique, we are transmitting either this waveform or this waveform to the receiver side. Then at the receiver side, we are recovering this information from this one or this one. And in this case, the circuit complexity of that recovering circuit will be very high. Okay. In the case of that basic amplitude modulation, that recovery circuit is a simple circuit, and in the case of double sideband suppressed carrier technique, that recovery circuit is complex than basic AM circuit, and here in this case of single sideband technique, that recovery circuit will be a more complex circuit compared to basic amplitude modulation and double sideband suppressed carrier technique. Let's now consider the power relation in the single sideband wave. We know the carrier component and one sideband are suppressed in the single sideband wave. Hence, the modulated wave contains energy only due to one sideband component. Hence, the total power in the single sideband modulated wave will be PSSB is equal to VLSB square divided by R, and that is equal to VUSB square divided by R. If we are transmitting the lower sideband component, then PSSB is equal to VLSB square divided by R, and if we are transmitting the upper sideband component, then PSSB is equal to VUSB square divided by R. Then here all these voltages are in RMS values, and R is the resistance in which the power is dissipated. So now we are going to calculate the values of this. So we know the power in lower sideband component is equal to power in upper sideband component, and we can represent that generally as VSB square divided by R. If we are transmitting the lower sideband component, then this one will be VLSB square divided by R, and if we are transmitting the upper sideband component, then this one will be VUSB square divided by R. Then we know the value of this VSB is equal to MVC by 2 divided by root 2. So we are substituting this value in the place of this VSB. So we will get MVC by 2 divided by root 2 all square divided by R, and that is equal to M square VC square divided by 8R, and that is equal to M square by 4 into VC square by 2R. So as we said earlier, the total power in the single sideband wave is equal to that VLSB square divided by R, or equal to VUSB square divided by R, and here we have derived that VLSB square or VUSB square divided by R is equal to this one, and hence the total power in the single sideband wave is equal to M square by 4 into VC square divided by 2R. And we know this VC square by 2R is PC, hence we will get PSSB is equal to PC into M square by 4. This equation relates the total power in the single sideband modulated wave to the unmodulated carrier power. Then from this equation we can calculate the maximum power in the single sideband wave. To calculate the maximum power in the single sideband wave, we need to substitute M is equal to 1. When M is equal to 1, this term will be 1 by 4. So the maximum power in the single sideband wave is equal to PSSB maximum is equal to PC divided by 4 when M is equal to 1. So from this we can see that we need only maximum of 25% of unmodulated carrier power for the transmission of single sideband wave. And this is correct also, because in the case of single sideband wave, 1/6 of the total power is utilized by the sideband, and this constitutes 25% of unmodulated carrier power.